All right. Welcome to the Hip Hop Hustle podcast. I am extremely excited about my next guest. It's the one and only JR Swiftz, and he's been kind enough to come in on his birthday and talk about his life, his career. So first guest to ever come in on their birthday. So I always appreciate that and that commitment to the craft and the commitment to hip hop. But you've worked with some amazing artists as well. Conway the Machine, you've worked with West Side Gun, Flea Lord, Shane Noir, Papoose, Sky Zoo, Elzai as well. I mean, man, it must be pretty amazing to look back on your career and be able to look at the accomplishments you've achieved thus far and know that they're still going to keep on coming.
Yes, absolutely, man. It's again, thank you for having me. It's been a very amazing journey. Um, my path on what I've been doing to like my success has been phenomenal, to say the least, man. I love it. I enjoy what I do, and some of the just you saying the names that I work with is crazy. It's still surreal to me, honestly.
Find it weird because, like, you know, whenever I prep for an interview, whenever I look at the artists that I'm speaking to, like, I always look at the accomplishments they have, and it always feels like you forget about it. It always feels like, you know, from day to day that you kind of forget all the things that you've achieved purely because, like, you kind of do it and you move on to the next project. Do you find that as well?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Because I'm just so focused just on making music and trying to build the brand and what does a JR Swift career will look like once I leave everything behind and I'm out of here, on to the next life or what have you. I just think about what kind of career, what kind of resume. I think that's why I move the way I move for a reason when it comes to working with people because I want my resume, my art to speak for itself. I hold my art such a high regard, and yeah, man, it's been a blessing, honestly. Just to have a whole album with Elza is still crazy. Just to play some of the uh, later successes on with Griselda is still surreal, man. So yeah, it's been a crazy journey so far, man. I'm proud of what I've been doing, you know, the work that I put in, the grind I've been doing. And people don't understand when you're a producer, you staying up so late hours, studying tutorials and so on and so forth, man. So I'm blessed, they're able to provide the fans with some some great music and some great talented people.
Well, how does that set up for your future? Like, because now that we look back on it, now that we take a moment to reflect, it's amazing. But do you
Mm.
let those moments set you up for, like, all right, here's my next thing or here's my next move?
Um, I do. I kind of look at what have I done lately. My previous work kind of set up for my next work, like who I want to work with, what what works for my brand, um, who's next on the list to work with, who else I want to produce an album for or a single. They definitely do. Helps me set up to future placements or projects. So definitely, because I want to continue having um, a high quality resume for sure. Yeah.
How do you find it being a producer? Obviously, you know, the artists get a lot of credit for the songs that come out. And then it almost feels like, you know, producers are the second piece to it, like the people who get mentioned after the song is already, like, you know, kind of blowing up. Does that make sense? Like, how does it, like, do you ever feel like, oh, I kind of want producers to get their names out there a little bit more? Because I feel like, you know, being a producer is such an
Mm.
underrated craft. Like, y'all are literally putting the songs together. Without producers, we don't have hip hop.
Yeah, absolutely for sure. I think it starts with the credits, because you'll see it every time. If a person is not entering the credits correctly on Spotify, well, for for it to get on Spotify, you have to go to DistroKid, TuneCore, so on and so forth. In order for your music to come out on streaming platforms, you have to enter your information into any, distribution platform. So I don't know why, but a lot of people tend to miss, like, let me put my producer's name here or this producer name here. I don't understand, like, the difficulty of that. It's really not, especially if you're doing it yourself. But just placing that producer's name in the credits on a streaming platform is going to help accelerate that producer's career. Or you could go the route what a lot of producers do, which is having a producer tag, which I do not have. I don't have a producer tag. I kind of battle with that. Some people say it works for them. I think for me, my sound is different than a lot of my peers. What I do stands out a lot more. That's why I chose not to have a tag, and I feel like it could get a bit annoying as well. That is my personal opinion. Of course, you can have it in the beginning, but if it's a loud, obnoxious tag, I think it throw off the artist. I'm just here for the music and the creative record. You know, if the credits is done right, you will know who did what. And usually people be able to tell, oh yeah, that's JR Swiftz. It's something about either the way I process my drums or whatever I may do. It could be something different with the sample. But whatever I may do separates myself from others to where I don't need a tag. So as long as the credits is there and people being credited right, the producer should be fine. But producers now are providing a lot more upfront instead of back in the day in the 90s. You would, if you was coming up and you knew somebody who had a name, a lot of times you'd probably be credited under the table. Like basically you would get paid and the person with the bigger name would get the credit. You would just get 10,000, 15 or whatever. But the bigger producer that has the name would get more of a cut because they have the name. Now, producers basically artists. So how are you going to market yourself for for future gain and fame, I guess. So there's a lot of opportunities for producers to really be on the forefront as an artist. So yeah,
because
ways to do that.
I was gonna say, like, being a producer is not just putting it together. Like, it is literally an art form. Like, it requires such a creative process, and to view the music differently. It's to be able to be like, can someone flow on this? Do I need to understand the artist, but then I also need to understand the mechanics of sound and how, certain instruments play off each other and create like a cohesive sonic piece. So I definitely agree. But it is interesting that you say, back in the 90s, it was more under the table. I wonder why that was. Like, it's weird to me that people don't want to give credit to those who helped them succeed.
I don't think it was. It could be a numerous of things, though. It could be some people may, I guess, the big brother, little brother effect. It's like I have the name. It's kind of like how you got a sibling, right? So you know how it's your sibling, the younger sibling is crying and making a scene, and you trying to the hush hush, like be quiet, don't tell mom. It's kind of that. Like I have the name, I have the connections. You basically need me. So I'm gonna pay you this until you're able to find your own way in this game. Now it's not like that. Cause I for sure didn't have a name. I was definitely building my name. And that's doing little stones throw beat battles that was online, few beat tapes that I did put out. I'm a part of a group called Ill Science based out of the 757 area. which is Hampton Roads area of Virginia. Um, so that's college my train of thought. But yeah, so and I realized my train of thought. I apologize, man.
That's all
Um,
right. It happens
yeah,
to me
but
all the time.
yeah, man. Oh, so but the big dog, little dog energy is it's just more so having a name. It's more so just having a name, and I tell you able to build yours. So that's what it was for me. I didn't have a name. I think it was I did not have a name. I was told that SoundCloud, BT, group stuff. But with my group, it was Science from VA. And when I DM Elza, he didn't know who I was, but my music, my beats was so undeniably good. He took the chance. And this is before the Griselda stuff came to play because 2017 is when I first linked up with Elza. And it was no talks about albums, anything like that. It was just, let's just build. And honestly, it just became that. Also, I'm going through a tunnel, so if I lose signal, I apologize as well. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I think we're all good.
okay, we good.
Yeah.
Okay, this is pre-recorded, right? Like again,
Yeah.
cussing and everything. Okay, so yeah, they have a name, anything like that. Took a chance. Year before, me and Wes actually linked for um, you know, me being on Hitler 6. So I tell people all the time, Elza was my first placement, but me and West records were able to come out first. So that's why, people know me from the Griselda stuff. But it's different now, man. Like I said, all the producers now have the ability to be on the forefront now as artists. You could not even work with an artist if you don't want to. You could just perform. You could be a performance producer, content creator, if you will. So many ways to skin a cat in the music industry. You don't have to work with artists. Artists grew up with wanting to create dope music with dope artists. So that's why I chose that route. And a little sprinkle of everything else, content creation and stuff like that. So like I said, so many ways to grow as a producer. Um and it's just not the case no more like how it was in the 90s, which is a great thing. So yeah.
How was it, getting a response back from Elzai? Because obviously you're putting yourself out there, and he is such an accomplished artist, and to me, underrated in terms of his lyrical ability and his ability to put together like conceptual song. Like he does more than just like put together really complicated rhymes. He can actually put together like thematically really interesting songs. So how was it, you know, starting like just being like, oh shit, this is something that could actually happen?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, it was surreal because growing up, funny story, like when I first just I guess going back to the essence, because at one point in time I was making trap beats. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go back to the essence and just make real hip hop. So as I was at the time, Pandora was like popping. It wasn't really Spotify. Title definitely wasn't out then. It was just Pandora. So I was going through, and you could go through the radios. So I came across Dilla, and then from Dilla it led to like SV, Slum Village. So I'm like, yo, I don't know who this dude is, but he's just going wicked. He's just wilding right now. Definitely he's one of my favorite MCs. Probably is my favorite MC. It's him and then Skyzoo. But with him responding, I didn't think he was gonna respond. You figured he's not heavy on social media like that, and very private individual. I'm like, man, what is the odds of him really gonna look at this DM? And when he looked and he started listening to the beats, because I normally post me making a beat on Instagram, people listen, whatever. I sent him a video of me making a beat. And he was like, yo, these are actually good. And he started going through my catalog that's on my page. And he was like, yo, fam, here's my number. that was it for me. Once he gave me his number, and it was around this time, around my birthday. I think it was the day before I was going to the following day on my birthday. So that was even dope. So
Can you just
it
repeat that? You
was
just cut out that
like,
little bit at the end.
no, I was saying,
Like it was around your birthday. I just missed that back end bit.
So it was around my birthday. So that's been like the theme for the past couple of years. It's like something around my birthday, either the day of or a couple of days before, something always happened. And this situation, 2017, is when he read the DM and gave me his number. He gave me his number for me to contact him. It was and I was on the phone with this man, this building. So yeah, that was a great birthday present for me. And then the next day, I went to a Gazelda show to see West, and I think West and Conway and Smoke Desert was on tour with the Locks. They was in Charlotte. I used to live in Charlotte, North Carolina. So it was dope. Definitely a dope experience.
That would have been sick.
Absolutely. So,
well, I mean, it's because when we were messaging and we were talking about dates and timing, I was like, damn, you're so keen on doing it on your birthday. And now I know why. Because you've had thematically success and things pop up on your birthday for the past few years. I wonder, it's always like when you have success around that period of time, like, do you feel like that's just, that the growth every year of like, all right, this is symbolic of my next step?
Absolutely. If it could be symbolic of what's about to come forward, or to remind me what I've done, and I need to keep doing what I've been doing. Like this year wasn't the best for me. Just like others, like a lot of artists was having issues financially, mentally, spiritually, whatever it may be. I think everybody was struggling somewhere this year. And I was a part of that. Wasn't really creating my personal bled into my music, and just wasn't a good year. It wasn't really, as they call it outside, I wasn't really being active as I should. And today, on my birthday, I did an interview when I was in Boston a couple weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago now. I had an interview with another podcast, and they didn't even know he dropped it today on my birthday. And then now I'm doing an interview on my birthday. So stuff like that happens, man, that remind me, especially this year, that I need to keep doing what I've been doing, what got me here, and don't stress. So absolutely, definitely very symbolic.
What happened in the past year? Why was it so challenging and so difficult, like for you to get to where you need to be creatively?
Honestly, I think this year, I had caught the beginning of the year, I had COVID. I had COVID at the beginning of the year. Actually December of last year, but it bled into this year, early part of this year. Then just just lost track of what I needed to do after that. I think I was just more so focused on recovering from having COVID. And it wasn't even bad. It was like the Omicron. I think everybody had it around that time, but still recovering from it. My mental wasn't the best. There was a lot going on personally. And it just bled into the music, which I haven't had that happen. It's just, we're humans at the end of the day. And that was just what I was dealing with. But I know going into 23, I cannot allow the business to fall the way that it did, because there's so much more that I need to do. So many people that I want to work with, and so many doors that needs to be opened. Like I think a lot more people need to work with JR, and JR want to work with other people. I mean, from JR Writer to Fabulous to Young and May to Tory Lanez. Like the list goes on. It's very a mixed bag. Rhapsody, it's a mixed bag of people that I would like to work with. So I can't allow myself to fall short the way that I did. I can't allow that.
Have you set things up now for, you know, and let me say as well, I'm glad you recovered and you're feeling a lot better, but have you set things up so that, because shit is always going to happen in our personal lives, like it's inevitable, but have you got things in place where you're like, all right, next time anything happens, I can do X, Y, Z, so that I can make sure that, you know, I can separate as much as possible my personal life and my business life?
Yeah, for sure. Just being able to just separate. You know, I'm big on kind of being a stoic. Until like I feel like, you know, I'm a fairly enjoyable person. I love life, and that's something that I've been learning this year. Just be you. But also be a stoic, be stern with certain things in life. And like you said, things are always gonna come up within life. Um, when you have something great going, right? So think about it like this, like basketball. I use this analogy. You're one of the, you know, you're rookie of the year, kind of like Derrick Rose. My story is kind of like Derrick Rose right now. MVP, and that's probably one of my favorite players. Him and James Harden. Um, but going from MVP, killing it for the couple years, and then injury. But it's metaphor. But I was saying I had my injuries and now I'm recovering. So just figure out how to manage my injuries better, and as far as like the personal life, and not have it bleed into the music. Cause that's the business. That's how I get paid. That's how you know, one of my means of income, and that's something that I love to do. I can't allow that to fall. I can't allow my name to just fall like that. So find a way to separate that.
You know, it's interesting that you bring up stoicism because, like, is there a way that you found out about it? Did you find it like inherently? Like, where did it play into your life that you were like, all right, this is something that I'm gonna adopt?
That's a great question. I think it was more so. I think I just wanted to live a different life. Honestly, um, I feel things would be better if you took yourself seriously to a degree. Like I said, I love to laugh, and joke, but um, some things you have to take seriously. If you want somebody else to take you serious, so that's why I started getting into stoicism and among other things. So it definitely helps me with business. I feel like some people like to say the music industry is very cutthroat. So if you're in a cutthroat business, like the music business, you kind of have to be on point, very stern with certain things, and not bend on certain aspects of the music business. Like if you have, um, let's say you're a producer, your price is like 2,000 a beat, right? But you have fans that just enjoy your music and they want to own a piece of your work. They may not even rap. They just want to own a beat of yours. And I'm just so stern on this 2,000. Sometimes you have to being able to adjust, being stern, and you're just like, hey, I'm doing this for you. I know you enjoy my music, but also but yeah, I'll change that again. Also being just flexible with your work too. Um, but stern on the paperwork, stern on handling the business. Okay, I appreciate you. Thank you for considering me for your album, your single, or what have you. But I'm stern on my business. I want the right type of splits, so on and so forth. That's being stern. You have to be stoic in that aspect. Because if you're not really stern on your business, I think people could take you a certain way and then feel like they could get away with such. And that yeah, I think I'm back.
You're back.
Okay, then I had cut out. What part was you able to get, man? I
You were
apologize.
talking about being stern in business and having like lines that you draw.
Okay. Okay. I apologize for that, man.
That's all right.
Phone had picked up somebody's Wi-Fi. But yeah, being stern in the business, just to wrap this up on this part. This being stern on the business, meaning you know, the paperwork aspect, the splits, things of that nature, have to be stern on that. Um, if you're not, some people may feel like you're a pushover, easy to get over because you're not handling your business correctly. And I feel that you definitely should. That's something you cannot play around with.
See, it's interesting you bring up stoicism because I kind of like all these philosophies of life, of like how to best live your life, how to be, the best man or the best person you can be. And I always battle with stoicism because it's like, the core principle is about not letting things get to you. It's
Right.
about, you stay extremely consistent, like you said, like be a rock. Like no matter what is thrown at you, you stay level headed, calm, and you just don't change as an individual. But then on the flip
Yeah.
side, I'm like,
Uh,
our emotions kind of bring people closer to us. So, like you said, you're funny. You like to laugh. You like to like
uh,
have that part of you. And so the challenge with stoicism for me is like
uh,
I also love to do that kind of stuff, and it kind of makes emotions the enemy. Whereas in a weird way, I don't know, maybe that's my perception of it, but like I think there's a balancing act, and in your personal life, you want to be able to use your emotions and you want to be able to bring people closer to you. But then in business, being level headed and calm is obviously extremely powerful. So it's like this balance of making sure you can use certain principles in the right moments in your life.
no, you are absolutely right. Um, you said something that was very important, controlling your emotions, and that's something that I think a lot of men do not do well with, is controlling their emotions. They just act and just um think about the actions or consequences later. And I feel like if you're able to think clearly um about a situation, I think that'll help you. I seen a meme, right? They say you're a very dangerous person if you're able to stay calm during disrespect. So if somebody's just being outraged and disrespecting you and you still being calm, you won that. You won the war. Um, for the simple fact that you won the war for the simple fact that you're able to manage your emotions. You know that this person is talking to you in a manner that they shouldn't be. But since you being in frame and being able to just manage this situation, I think that would take you a long way. And in the music business, being stern on certain principles about splits, about contracts, about how they handle your brand at the end of the day, your name at the end of the day. because it's so easy to get blackballed in the music industry because you're not playing along to get along, and everybody's not trying to play that type of game. Everybody just trying to do what works for them and what their level of success should be. So yes, like being able to control your emotions. At least 80 to 85%, I think will take you a long way. I think we should be able to feel your emotions, but don't let it consume you, if you will.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting because business wise, I always look at it and I'm like, you know, emotions cloud judgment. Like emotions make you make decisions that may not necessarily be. Oh, sorry, man. One of those moments.
And I bless you.
Um, but yeah, emotions can cloud judgment because
Right.
you know, and as soon as somebody realizes that you're making decisions through emotion or you have made decisions through emotions in the past, they can trigger it to make the next decision. So like if
Right.
I know that you make decisions through, you know, joy, then I'm going to make you feel that joy in my next interaction with you because you're going to make a decision that may benefit me rather than thinking objectively, okay, what is the right choice? A lot of people make decisions through fear. And so you see in selling that even when you like over the phone, the fear of missing out is one of the biggest selling points ever. It was discovered in sales, and so like as soon as you succumb to that emotional part in a business sense, then you lose the control you have over yourself. But those fears then, or those emotions in that personal life is important because it brings you close to the people around you. Because you show them like, okay, not everyone gets to see this part of me. I trust you enough to then bring you in and show you my potential vulnerabilities. I show you the things that are really important to me. So getting that balance right is extremely difficult, but extremely important. Sorry, man.
Peace. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, man. Absolutely.
Did you notice a shift when you started implementing it?
I did. I did. I think people took me a lot more seriously when I started managing the emotions. Because like I said, I don't like chaos. So I feel if I'm able to manage if I'm able to manage the emotions in whatever situation I'm in, I think it end up turning out better for me. Like say bills, right? Everybody has bills. How you gonna pay your bills the next day? I think just managing the stress and trying to figure things out, I think it helps in the long run because you never know what the world has in store for you. You could be stressing over something, right? But the answer could be literally right there. You know, you might forgot, oh, I got extra money to pay for this bill. I just completely forgot about this. So yeah, I think just staying calm in any situation definitely helps me. That's something I try to live day to day. Just straight face, especially if I'm in the area where I'm not familiar with. Uh, I'm always making sure I'm focused and knowing my surroundings. That's where stoicism really comes into play at. So it definitely helps me on so many levels, for sure.
Yeah, I think we all got to find whatever it is that helps us find kind of a bit of peace with the chatter in our own minds. But something I did want to ask you about was your father, because your father also was in the music industry. So do you remember being a kid and kind of seeing the things that your father was doing, and did that inspire you?
Yeah, for sure. He actually with me right now. He's the driver. He's driving me around right now to the studio. Um, man, and for the longest time, be honest, actually this is probably gonna be his first time hearing this. I was actually keeping it low because I know people is real funny about that when they feel like, oh, we had the silver spoon because your father's in the music industry, and I'm like, okay, what we done it, and what he's doing and done in his time has nothing to do with mine, but people will try to play with that, right? Or try to use that against me, if you will. But I don't ever deflect my outbreaking when it came to the music industry because I've seen a lot. I've been in studios since I was in second grade, so whatever age that was, and some of the top dogs in the industry, I saw them. You figured Kool G Rap, you figured Busta Rhymes, you figured Flavor Flav. I mean, the list goes on, man. I was around early on. I remember him taking me to the studio plenty of nights, knowing I had to go to school the next day. But that's part of my journey, though. Like I posted a picture of me when I was young. I was actually in VA at the time because I'm originally from New York. I'm originally from Brooklyn. But I posted a picture of me using the drum machine. I mean, it wasn't on. I think I was just about to cut it on. But he decided to take a picture. But you look at the aesthetics, I had like old school posters on the wall from like Jay-Z, Streets is Watching, a couple other movie like posters and stuff like that. That's part of the aesthetics that's pure hip hop. So stuff like that, I kept low until like later on in life as I got older. I'm like, yeah, like my pops definitely did his thing in the music, and still continue to do his thing. Right now, uh, he runs a group that I'm a part of called the Specialist, and it's him and and a couple other producers and an artist. His artist actually, Keith Turner. So to see this man grind for his work for so many years, that's where I get my work ethic from. And actually carrying the name. So his is Jayswiftz, Monster JR Swiftz. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And we also got a placement on Papoose album, a February album that came out this year, if I'm not mistaken. No, last year. It came out last year. The February album. I did Serial Killer and um Sticks and Stones. I forgot the name of the record that my father did. Um, but I don't think that ever happened before. A father son duo on a album. I don't think that's haven't been done. That's dope. That's the dope part about it.
Yeah, from the top of my head, I can't think of a father son duo, especially producer duo being on.
Now it's usually MCs. Usually, you got Peter Guns, Corey Guns. You know what I'm saying? You got Razzcast, and then his son from Coast Contra, and a couple others. Cause it's a lot more, but it's more so MCs, not really producers. So that's the dope part about it.
Yeah. Do you? I want to touch on the the kind of not wanting to be perceived as someone with a silver spoon in your mouth. Like, how long did it take you to get over that potential? Like, it was clearly something that worried you, that you didn't want to be like, oh, I'm getting success because my father's successful. How long did it take you to overcome that kind of challenge?
It wasn't long. It was just throughout my teenage years up to like my early 20s. Um, and then as I grew older, I was like, nah, that's actually a part of my success story. Because when people ask, in interviews, how did you get started in the music industry? Like, did you just pick it up? Like most people now just, oh, I want to make a beat today. Like I want to learn how to be a producer today. And they just go and look up tutorials from, a program that they friend might have told them about. Like, no, I'm 31, I've been making beats since I was like 12. So I've been active for a long, even before that, you might as well say when I was like 6, 7 years old. Um, that's when I've been really heavy into the music. So, but as I grew older, I was like, nah, that's part of my success story. Like, if it wasn't my pops having me around these different people and being influenced by that, I don't think I would be making music, honestly.
Do you remember what it was like heading into the studio for the first time? Like, cause
Yeah.
like it's such a weird feeling, like it's not an environment that most people will ever walk into. So being a kid walking into it must have been completely at the next level.
No, I wasn't even shy, to be honest. I wasn't shy when it came to that. I wanted the spotlight on me, and it's like I know I'm great because I wasn't even producing at the time. I was MCing. I was an MC, but I didn't like how I didn't like my sound when I would record my vocals. I didn't like voice was super high pitch, and I was like, oh no, this is definitely not gonna work for me. So I gave up MCing and I wrote my own raps. I was like 6 years old writing my own raps. Like I was really doing this. Um, but I just didn't enjoy how like sound like Mickey Mouse. I'm good. So I just, went behind the boards and started producing, and that's where my success came from. Just behind the boards instead of just trying to be outside and being an MC. So every now and again I might dip and dabble, but I don't take it serious.
Do you have anyone that you met like as a child that you were like, that was pretty amazing?
As far as
Like
like as a producer or
as like an artist, like looking back, being around your father, being around the people he was working with, is there anyone that really stood out, like as a memory of like that is pretty cool, or like they were a person to me that like I don't know, either inspired you or just had left an impact?
when I was MCing probably like Papoose because I was around him like early on, like early on in his career before the deals and stuff like that. Probably him and well really yeah him and a couple others that I was around. Um, like this artist named Jinx the Jewelry. Um, another artist named Ike and for Diamond. These people that I grew up. These like my brothers, my big brothers at the time. That was crazy MCs in Brooklyn. Those are my influences. And then then these guys went on to get deals. Jinx the Jewelry had a deal with Def Jam, and then Papoose had a deal. I want to say J Records, either J Records or Job, one of them, and became very successful in their own right. So these are the guys I was looking up to when I was MCing. Producers, it was my pops and then Knots Raw from VA. So those are my two influences. But my pops definitely first because he had all the equipment, anything you could think of, like was right there at my disposal. Let me mess with the techniques, let me mess with the turntable, let me mess with the ASR 10, the MPC 2000. Like everything was literally right there. But I took more interest into that um, than rapping, honestly.
Yeah, kind of makes sense. I tried to write a rhyme once and I was like,
Mm.
nope, this is too hard. Nope, this is not for me.
So MCing is not really hard. Um, I think it's a niche for everybody, right? I think you gotta find your niche. Kind of study your influences and stuff like that. Like if I MC now, um, like I said, I dibble and dabble every now and again. I know I'm studying Elzar, Sky Zoo. I'm studying a little bit of Conway, like, but really just L and Sky Zoo because super magical with the words, and Elzar playing with syllables, and it's just how he put words together. Um, like one of my favorite lines from Hiding Place by Little Brother, where he said, working playing a perfect verse, dispersed like a person that jerked from a circus cane and then land to the earth. Crazy line. I was like, nah, he's crazy. Um, but it just how it flows, is I don't it's real technical, real detailed. That's kind of how I am in my production when I'm making beats. The little things matter. That's what separates you from somebody else. You could say it's easy to say, you know, I'm a better rapper than you, right? I make better albums, so on and so forth. Okay, cool. You could give a person that you could say it's plenty of artists that are better rappers than Elzai, right? You say that, sure opinion. But nobody's not gonna like lyrics, he's gonna fire on you every chance that he get. If you have him as a feature, he's gonna fire on you. You're gonna have to pull some magic tricks to really keep up because he's gonna wash you on your own record. And I feel sorry for him. I've heard it numerous times, time and time again. So yeah.
Yeah, I think. See, I realized I'm like, yeah, I think I'm gonna stick to talking. I think that's my niche. It's just like this talk. I don't know. There's something about the putting the pen to pad and like you said, comparing yourself to the class of MCs that are out there, the class of lyricists that are out there that literally seem to bend words out of shape to make them work and use metaphors and multi-syllable rhymes. And they use all these pieces of imagery to kind of create a story and this thing. And I don't know. When I look at it, I'm like, I just know inherently within myself that level is such a level away from what I have inherently that like it's almost difficult to even let yourself go for it. Like I look at, for me personally, like I look at Big Pun, you know, Elzai is one of them. I look at people like Sci-Hi, he does fantastic bars and fantastic multi-syllable rhymes, and he does an awesome job. But you know, any one of the greatest rappers of all time, and you know, I listen to Biggie a lot, and he does the same. The way he seems to like bend words and sounds, and so I think it's like it can be challenging when that's the era of hip hop that you gravitate to be like, I can do it as well, because it literally is the best of its class.
No, absolutely. Like some of my top fives MCs, is phenomenal writers. Nas, Scott Zoo, was that three? Big L. So it's a four, the fifth one, man. Man, who got five?
I will say, I always find number 5 the hardest. It chops and changes for me.
It's always changing. Like it took a long time for my top 5 producer list to really find that number 5, but my MCs is like my fifth one. I mean, it could be Jay-Z, it could be Biggie. I'm gonna put Biggie. Biggie being number 5 for me, and him not writing down his raps. That's different. That's outside of Jay, of course, but that's the first time I really heard somebody like do that. And then a lot of people kind of start following that formula. You figure Jay, figure Wayne. I think I heard Conway say he do it every now and again. Just go in the booth, don't write. Just I think that becomes common now. The muscle memory is just retaining some of the bars. But I think writing it down, you're able to play with the cadence a little bit differently. I don't know. I could be wrong. I think I could be wrong on that. I think if able to have everything in the mental and just spit the bars, I think you kind of could do it on the fly. So it might be better that way, honestly.
Yeah, I think because I've spoken to a few people about that. And I will say something I feel like we need to add to top 5s is a producer. So it should be a top 6, like your top 5 MCs, and then the producer you want to be able to produce songs for the top 5. Like, I feel like that's the missing piece. You need like a top 6, 5 MCs, a producer, your favorite of all time, and then it's like a package. But anyway, that's me getting distracted. um, but
Absolutely.
but yeah, I've definitely heard artists say that, like, you know, when you write pen to pad and then you know, kind of record with the sheet up, it's not the same as doing it off memory. When you do it off memory and you know it off by heart, you can kind of play with it a little bit more. And I feel like it's almost, in a way, those people who can do it like spit without writing it down, they've done it so much that, like you said, it's muscle memory, that they just know where to kind of go to find the next part of the bars. They know what should fit into the next place. But I think, like, we're talking about the best, but like for the everyday person, it's not possible for them to be able to meet that caliber off the top of their own head. And I think we see that in hip hop right now, is like, it's cool not to write lyrics down, but I can hear you didn't write that down. And that's not cool. Like, when I can tell you didn't write that, or I can tell that you didn't prepare that adequately, well, then I'm not impressed, because I could have done that. I could have gone in there and come with some random shit and then doesn't really do anything. But it's impressive when it's amazing. But when it's not, it's just not impressive at all.
Yeah, so I would say this too. Here's the difference. I think people that write their rhymes could get a lot more technical. If you're able to memorize your material because you wrote it down, you can still play with the pattern. Instead of just, hey, I'm just going to the booth and whatever comes to mind. I think, like, you really just freestyling at that point. There's really no technicality, in my opinion, unless you've really been doing it for years and you really have to. I don't know, because I guess I've seen L work before. Everything's written down, and I see how technical he is. And I seen videos of like Conway working. So, but it's two totally different artists doping their own right. But I can hear somebody being super technical and the others kind of just still crazy lyricism, but it might not be as the same as Scouts or like a Pharaoh Munch or Black Thought, so on and so forth. See what I'm saying? I think they get a lot more technical, piecing it together, because you can move things around. You got to stop. You know, you got to punch in when you record. There's a lot you got to do. First, when you're writing it down, I can just, okay, take this word. I can probably move it around. Make it, you know, you really, it's like a puzzle. You're really piecing it together to have some dope lyricism. And then now, since you memorize that joint, you've been practicing day in and day out, now you're able to play with the patterns, in my opinion.
Well, I also think, like, being able to see the length of words, being able to see the length of a particular part of your lyrics helps. Like, and this is from obviously the outside looking in, but being able to, like, go, all right, this is how, you know, this length of sentence fits into, like, here, this is how this fits into here. I can play with, you know, shorter words here with longer words here, and I can kind of just like start to add the complexity. I feel like that is a lot easier, as you were saying, when you can see it. And then from there, it's just finding, like, literally a puzzle. And I think it's when you don't see, like, I don't know. I just think writing it down has to be easier if what you're going for is complexity, and what
Yeah.
you're going for is the best rhymes. If you're just going to make a song and the best track, that you're not really concerned about the complexity of the bars, then I'm sure it's fine not to write it down, because you're just looking for something that's catchy. But it just depends on the MC, depends on your goals.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely right. So if you want to be technical, I think write it down. If you kind of Sorry, something threw me off. My man got a Mike Myers mask on. um, at the bus stop, that's wicked.
People are getting
really
ready for Halloween.
Nah, like he really tweaking. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, you absolutely right. Want to be technical, write it down. If you kind of just want to go with the flow at your own pace, definitely just go in and basically just go have fun.
Something I did want to ask you about was something you said at the start of the interview, which was you were making more trap beats and then you switched back to like more iconic hip hop, more like, you know, sticking to the four elements of hip hop. Why the change? Why did you start number one with the trap sound and then switch back?
I felt like I was being trendy. I felt like it was a trend. Like I was doing stuff that sounded like Roscoe Dash and Waka Flocka. Like I'm making stuff like that. Like I'm young. That I'm like, man, I think I want to go back to the essence. I want to go back to making stuff that my dad was making, and I remember I had bought my first drum kit, which is Ilmon's Lab Kit, Volume 1. I bought that, and I just started making, figure out how to make my own hip hop beats. Because I was already around it. Like I was around it. I just chose to do something else sonically, and once I feel like, well, I'm gonna this stuff, create your own path, your own lane, don't follow trends. So I'm not in the business to be trendy.
Sorry, do you mind just saying that you were saying, I just caught the end. You're not in the business to be trendy, but you were just, doing your own.
Yeah, I'm not in the business. Yeah, I'm not in the business. Right. I'm not in the business to be trendy. I'm trying to get my own success, my own way, and that's why I try to tell people like, there's a niche for everybody. Just do what works for you.
Yeah, I think that's quite difficult for a lot of people. Like, I don't know. I find it sometimes difficult as well. Like a lot of people ask me, like, which other podcasters do you listen to and like take inspiration of? And it's like part of me listens to other people for enjoyment, but I always try and make sure I listen to genres outside of my own because I don't want I want inspiration from other people who are doing a good job, but I don't want to be influenced too heavily from other people that have their own brand, like they have their own style. So it's like, it's a catch-22. You got to find your natural lane and not be scared to just do your own thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why, for so many years, I've went through that path of trying to sound like somebody else and sound like my influences But as I grew and matured as a producer, I started just picking the pieces that I like from my favorite producers. Like, okay, what Dilla doesn't quantize, let me take that and implement that in my production. What not? He got the ill drums, bass line. He might pick a weird sample and flip it a certain way. So I'm picking different things from my favorite producers and basically compiling into one to where you hear me now, JR Swiftz. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, man, I think you're doing a fantastic job. I mean, you don't really need me to tell you because the list of accomplishments, but it is always awesome to see people like yourself who clearly have a strong passion for it and are motivated to do really well. And I only have one more question for you, but it's probably going to be the toughest question I've asked. But if you could recommend one album that everybody should listen to at least once to get an appreciation of, cannot be your own music, can be any genre that you choose, what would it be?
Probably, man. It's so many albums I could choose from, man. One album. Um, I'll probably go with, man. I don't know. I'll probably go with Illmatic.
By Nas.
I'll probably go Illmatic by Nas. I'll probably go with Illmatic.
What does it mean
Yeah.
for you, that album?
There's not a lot of songs for one, and I think that's how albums should be. I'm listening to albums now, and it's a lot of album fillers on albums nowadays. Like an album might be 15, 17 songs, and about 80% of it is 8% is filler. Cut that down, you got to trim the fat. I think what in Maddox for like 7 songs, 8 songs, something like that. And every last one of them is a banger, iconic, well written, especially for his age. Definitely iconic for the time as well. That's why I chose the album. No album filler, straight to the point, classic record. It's a record on that album for somebody. So yeah, I mean, I could have chose Give It to Die Trying. I could have chose Documentary by Game. I could have chose Extinction Level Event by Busta Rhymes. So many albums could have chose, but those albums have some filler, in my opinion. Illmatic does not, in my opinion. Straight to the point.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, Get Rich or Die Trying is like, what is it, 21, 23 tracks, something like that? Like, it is a huge piece of work.
Yeah. But it's too long of an album. I mean, I still enjoy that album like it came out yesterday, but still too long of an album. It is like 22 songs, something like that. Like, way too long of an album. I'm not about to sit through and run. It's probably over an hour. And I know they don't make albums like that no more, like at least an hour time. But I'm not about to sit through an hour worth of music. Now no more anyway. If you could just precisely like piece your album together of just great songs, I would enjoy 7, 8, 9 songs, 10 songs in 15, 20 pieces. And majority of it is filler. I'm not about to do that.
I agree with you. I think definitely there is like, it's weird. We're in this time of music where sometimes an album is too short because they don't have enough killers. Like, you're like, man, this needed to be longer because like you just did the same thing for 6 tracks. And it's just like, that's not enough. And then, as you said, like when you get 15 plus, it's like, I don't know why you've got 4 or 5 of these songs on here because they're not your best work. And so it's like, I feel like people haven't realized or found their own kind of sound and their perfection yet of like figuring out, this is my best and that's all I'm going to release. We kind of have this mentality these days of, I just throw as much shit against the wall and hopefully some of it sticks.
Absolutely. But this is where the fans got to start holding their favorite artists accountable. Stop just recording songs just to record them and just to put out the songs. Actually take your time and put out a dope record. So that way you have more of a fan base than just, I got a cult following. Just because, whatever the case may be. I think artists need to do better with the records that they put out. So I hold everybody accountable. I don't care who it is. Because I'm a fan first. Fan first, producer second. So I'm gonna tell you, like, yeah, I don't like this record. I think maybe this producer should have been on this album, or I mean, I'm not even got to include me all of the time. I could just say, yo, I think this producer should have been on, maybe this feature, maybe should have took this song off. And like I said, if I was producing, I'd probably be an A&R. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, if I was producing, I'd probably be an A&R. That's my next venture. If everything fails with production, I'm getting the A&R. That's my next bag.
Well, man, I'm sure it won't fail because you're doing a fantastic job. Obviously, the great JR Swiftz came through. Make sure you support him. Check him out on Spotify. Check him out on IG. You've also got a link to a bunch of tracks that you've produced as well in your Spotify link tree. But man, it was absolute pleasure. And who knows, you might go into A&R as well moving forward. Anyway, just try and switch it up when you get kind of like when you want to kind of mix it up. But man, absolute pleasure. Is there anything else you wanted to plug?
Yeah, actually I do, man. Again, thank you for having me on your platform. I know I'm on the road. So it's been kind of crazy, but again, thank you for a dope interview. I actually have an album coming out on the 21st with this dude, talented rapper / producer, more so producer than rapper. Body Bag Ben, that comes out on the 21st. I did all of the tracks, I did the rhymes. I got another album coming out that I'm producing from VA. This cat named Quan Corleone, got that in the cut. And I got other projects too, man. So just be on the lookout.
Awesome, man. Well, happy birthday again. As I said, first time an artist has done an interview with me on their birthday. Hope your recording session goes well. You got important people around you, your father, as we mentioned as well. But man, absolute pleasure. I'm looking forward to seeing what else you get up to, and hopefully we get to do it again.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Just keep me posted with anything, man, and we'll definitely do the same.